when I was single and when I was little, you know, we used to go and start the year off hop training in Kent, training the ops, and then we'd move on from there to strawberry picking, and then we'd go cherrying. Perhaps we'd pull back over to Essex for pea picking and beans and things like that, and then we'd move back again for the apple picking and the hop picking, and then move back to Essex for the potato picking. And then sometimes we'd get a place on a farm perhaps where my mum and that would be potato washing all the winter and things like that, you know, packing. Just for somewhere really to stop for the winter, that's all. My son's children, 2 daughters, have never been to school. They have a private, you know, somebody coming because he didn't want them knowing all about sex and things like that when they were just dear little tiny children, you know. He just didn't want it. And some of the boys in there, although they were young, they were quite big boys and that, you know. And we do know girls who have been attacked in school. And he just wouldn't. I said, let them, because they're sort of missing out and that. He said, I won't let them go. Because he's old fashioned, you know, he's my oldest son. He's old fashioned, he don't want to know nothing about that. And they've never been. The boy went to school, but only till he was 12, because that's when all the problems start as well. Because a lot of them, they get called gypsies and that by the older children.
I do like Irish travellers and I get on with them quite well, and I think they've got a brilliant society for what it, but it's not comfortable for me because it's too structured in the sense of women do look after the kids, do the housework, everything. I've been on my own with my children the whole time. I've done both jobs, man and woman, brought in the money, doing whatever work I can, and I've looked after the kids and looked after the house. I don't like the supposition that women shouldn't do stuff. For Irish travellers in particular, English travellers is slightly different, but there's still that. Well, that's the main difference. I mean,
there's not so much
of a strict thing on English travellers, like for women especially. But I mean, that's the main difference. When you walk in, that's what you notice first. There are a lot more subtle differences, but that's the main difference living in it. I mean, I like the sense of community and the fact that, you know, the kids always got someone to look after them, and the fact that you can go and do what you want, and you don't have to ask someone else to look after your kids. The fact that they're on the site and they would just be looked after with all the other kids. That's fantastic. But for me, it's like the opposites of straights, but it's still too closed in the society. You know, I want to be able to mix with whoever I want to mix with. I don't want to have that automatic prejudice against other societies. You know, like travellers do have a prejudice against other societies, same as straights have a prejudice against travellers. It's well earned and deserved, but at the same time, I don't agree with it.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing I can say. I mean, I'm open-minded enough to think that if I can have a laugh with someone, then I can be friends with them.
And so I've been stopped and searched going to my kids' school to pick them up many times, because I used to wear my hair with colours and plaits and stuff, you know, and obviously I've got boots on and a hat I wear. They just stopped me on the way to school. I mean, they've stopped my children's dad, who's got tattoos on his face. They've stopped him outside the school gate and asked him what's he doing waiting outside the school. He's there, I'm picking up my children, you know. And it just so happens that I was walking across the road as the police van was there, and I was like, what's the problem, sort of thing. You know, and it's get that reached out a lot. Well, not necessarily just travellers, but to different people.
Yeah.
If there's one thing in Southwark that you could change, like, I mean, my answer was prejudice. You know, if there's one thing that you could change in Southwark, what would it be? Access to more services, or access to different kinds of shops, or?
Now people don't look at you like an alien or something like that.
Prejudices.
Yeah.
Prejudice. You know, we're bikers and we're free, or we're whatever, we're just free people.
Yeah.
And straights, inverted commas, just aren't free.
Yeah.
And we're different, they're frightened of our freedom. Because they can't have it themselves.
I've only just started going out because I'm 13, but I have to go out with my cousins, which is now 18. But then we meet up with people from all over, with all the girls, all my friends, and then go off to the pictures or something. Got the day to ourselves.
With travellers, of course there's good and bad in everybody.
Yeah.
And it's like the country people, it's good and bad in everybody. But we weren't getting judged as that, we were just bad. We were putting curses on people, or which is stupid, you know. Yeah, exactly, yeah. And of course the children, the country children were afraid to start mixing with the traveller children. I remember going back 10 years ago, and I was in the supermarket, and I heard him going on about the travellers and this, that and the other, and I was there speaking with him, and of course I stood there listening to them, and I had my opinion, and then I turned around and I said, well, I'm a traveller. And they said, what? I said, well, I'm a traveller. And what do you mean, Christine? I said, you didn't know that? I said, but I am a traveller. I said, I live, I said, in Glengall Road. What, you live in, you mean with all that? I said, but I am a traveller. I said, what did you actually think we were? So she said, well, I don't know, I only, what I've read about the travellers. I said, no, I said, we are human. Do you know, I said, we're not like with two big horns and the devil or whatever.
It came from years ago in Ireland. Do you ever tell of the famine? And people was put out of their houses. And people took to the roads. Now, in them times, I'd be living here. My father and mother could be there, they could be put out. I couldn't take them in. They had to get out of the county, or they were put out of the house. And this happened, and they start going from there then. That's people stuck to the road. They had no money to buy houses or rent houses, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they just travel along, and that's where they started from.
When I was growing up, they've done nothing but talk. They've made meetings with MPs, everyone, town hall, everything, and to me, the voices, no traveller's voice is heard. No one wants to listen. Everything is just pushed back, you know, all the time. Like there was a site built over there, Bridal Close, that was built. There wasn't enough plots. Like for one site to be built for 50, 60 families, it's impossible. How can they fit like 50, 60 families into one 16 plotted site? And Stag is like, they are actually trying to help, but then what can they do? They're sending emails, they're sending everything, and absolutely no one replies. They send, well, I'm sending an email to, well, very odd. I'm sending an email to you, and you, well, they're telling me, we'll send it back to that person, and they might send it here, there, and everywhere. It's impossible. It's impossible.
I was born on the side of the road.
Oh wow.
I was born on the side of the road, in a tent, in the big snow. When I got married, I was about a week married when I moved over here to England. We used to travel around, but it's only when the children grew up and they weren't getting no education. So, with myself with no education, I knew I had to get education for them. I had to do it. And we were less than pecking. And I got the children into the schools. That was one good thing. We used to be over there and in an unofficial place, and the council posed off and moved it here. You had no water, you had no running water on an official site. You had to go to the garages and look for water. Then they gave us, and you'd have to go down up to the public toilets and go and use the public showers. And then they gave us a tap down there at the end. We had just one running tap for about 17 or 18 families when we moved down here first. If I'm going back to Ireland, I always say I'm going home, because my mother, well, many few years dead now, but even now I've got brothers and sisters there, and if I'm going back to Smith, I say, oh, I'm going home now for a couple of days. I'm going home for a couple of days. But I find the younger ones, when they say they're going home, it means home here.
Yeah, this is our home.
This is their home. Although they don't live in here, but it's their home.
Yeah.
And if we have anything parties, this is where they all seem to come. This is what they call home.
This house.
Yes,
Yeah.
this is home. Where mum and dad is the home. I would love to travel now. I would. Because I miss, when we used to be out, I used to have the open fire outside. You're not allowed an open fire here. Please be down tap you. The open fire I miss. Sitting around the open fire. Lovely. Absolutely lovely. I miss all that.
Yeah, we keep blue for her.
Yeah, I miss all that. Because years ago when we were getting brought up, we used to all sit around the fire in the evening, we'd have games around the fire, and the fathers and mothers would tell stories. I know it was hard because we lived on the side of the road, because we'd have to drag your little tent up, put it in the cart, and go on. Find another part of the ditch, pull in, build your little tent, make your bed, do your fire, do something there it was. But some people found it hard, but the travelling families didn't. It was lovely. The winter time was hard, the summertime was lovely.
Yeah,
the
but
winter time was hard. But it means a lot to me to be a traveller. We were very proud of ourselves. People mightn't think about who we are. We're very proud people. And we're proud of our family, and we're proud of our home. And we're there for our children. And we're there for our grandchildren. We're always there to be helped. We're there to help each other. So we are.